I have to say this. For a lot of people, their ambition is to be creative. But a creative guy does not set out to be creative. He sets out to be as honest as possible to his feelings, to himself.
Yeah.
And he just does it. He doesn't do it to be creative. That's why I don't like the idea of to be creative, everybody needs to wear the same shirt, the same style. No, you have to express who you are inside. You have to connect to who you are inside.
Hello guys, my name is Shubham and welcome to Canvas Stories on XTM Plus, your go-to art show in Mauritius. And today we are welcoming Nanda Pavaday, a well-known public figure in Mauritius and a creative and writer. So Nanda was with us at the start of the journey at XTM Plus. He was the main storyteller for the brand, and today we are welcoming him again at XTM HQ, and let's have a chat with him. Let's go.
Hello Subham, thank you for your invitation on this show. Yes, like you say, I was working here last year when the company moved to this premise. We started at event, and then I was here when we were setting up and the studio and so on. In fact, I helped to clean the table too. And then we had a lot of ideas, and at that time I worked essentially on the positioning, write-up, and also as storyteller, like you said. So it is quite an experience coming back here after 1 year, and so many things have changed.
Yeah, that's great. And as you were saying, the positioning of any brand, any company is really important. And what different things you brought here, and what did you consider very important for us?
For me itself, it was quite an experience working here. It served as a platform for me to enable me to launch my book. At that time, when I met James, he was starting this venture, and
right.
After spending some 25 years in advertising, I have my idea of how to communicate, but really it was like being reformatted. Every day I would go home and tell my brother, it's unbelievable what I learned today. James told me this is this. It was fantastic, and honestly I can say if my book has been a success, I owe it a lot to what I learned working here, working with James and his vision. I think he enabled me to overcome a lot of what were my weaknesses before. So I'm very grateful to him. And I also try to contribute my knowledge of branding, on communication, traditional communication, and also in positioning, getting a philosophy and so on. And I hope the younger generation coming are following up on what I thought of.
Yeah, you've set up the strong foundation for us, and now we are leading that philosophy, that thoughts that we have. We share, we grow, we act, and we leave a legacy. So, as you were saying, you've worked in the industry for 25 years, and tell us a bit about you, your childhood, and how was it? What did you want to become as a child?
Okay, honestly, I've never given this much thought. When I was a child, I was an introvert. I think I come from a family of 5 brothers, and even then I was often on my own, left to my own thoughts. And I think at that time I started imagining a different world. So I'd never wanted to work. If it was possible to make money without working, I would have loved that.
I guess everyone wants that.
Yeah. So when I was going to college and so on, I would see my friends doing this. For me, I never had any career in mind. When I joined advertising after being unemployed for 1 year. And at that time, I had never heard the word brainstorming, concept. I remember
ideations, sketches.
Nothing like this. I remember when I joined, I had a senior he was assigned the task of helping me. So one day the boss told him, explain to Nanda what is a concept, because that was my job as a conceptor, copywriter conceptor. So he tried to explain to me, Nanda, imagine there are a pool of fishes going in this direction. One fish goes in this direction. And so I was thinking, this is a concept. I don't know what he's telling me. So even up to now, it's very difficult to explain to me what is a concept. But my job in advertising and even now is to find concepts, ideas and concepts. So that's it.
So what you've learned over your career is basically creating ideas, concepts, storytelling. So in one sentence, how can you define, as you're saying, you can't really define an idea, but overall, how is it?
Often people ask me how to get ideas, what is an idea? I will try to the challenge. I won't take up the challenge of defining it in one line, but I can give you an example.
Yeah.
Imagine you have a relative abroad and you want to send your feelings to them. What will you do? There are times you can write a letter or things like this, or at times what you will do, you will take a jar of ashore and put ingredients and so on, and then wrap it up, pack it, put it in a suitcase and send it to them. The moment they open it, they don't just open a jar of ashore, they open up feelings, emotions, souvenirs. It leaves a lingering taste in the mouth that will stay with them. This is the same thing as an idea. An idea is, I have something to tell you, to convey to you, a message, an emotion. How do I wrap it up so that it is sealed, it can travel, it stays, and when the person opens it, the feelings will pervade throughout and stay with him. You see? But at times, the ashore will fall down and everything. But for ideas also, an idea is very fragile. The idea of an idea itself comes into play. When you have to convey something, you have to say how best to convey this message, how to wrap it up. Now, if you have 5 messages to convey, 5 different things, and you convey them in a manner that are scattered, the person won't grasp anything. That's why in advertising we always say one message, one idea. One message, one campaign, one idea. So it is always, whether you are writing a speech, whether you are making a movie, you are writing a book, it always comes down how do you condense everything into one idea.
That focus in one idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you have this one idea, then it can move about, you can keep it over time and so on. It is also important to understand, for example, writing is different to communicating. I'm more of a communicator than a writer. When you write, usually you can write for yourself. You write something nice, you wanted to express it, and stays with you. When you communicate, you always communicate to the other person. So he is a hero in the story, not you. You always have to think of him. What is relevant to him? So this is really the difference between writing something and getting 2 people to appreciate, 2-3 people, or writing something. At times it is mundane, but it connects to people because you have been thinking about them. You have paid attention to what is important. So this concept of idea plays an important role in a lot of things. It's at the core of communication itself.
So overall, from what you're saying, so I think of it as the idea has to create an experience for the audience on all levels.
Yes. The person when you communicate to the person interprets it in his own manner. So between you and them, there needs to be something in common. It has to be there. If I tell you the story of my dog, but you don't know my dog, you won't feel anything about it. But I can tell you a story of my dog in a manner that you can relate it to your relationship with your dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
You see? Because you love your dog the same way. So I can't be too specific about what it's important to me when I'm writing, I'm thinking out to think, is this relevant to you, with you? If I tell you, I see a lot of people writing posts, they walk on a on a Lego in the morning, or they sprain their foot or what. But how does it matter to me? It doesn't matter to me. I have other priorities, other issues I'm handling. But if I tell you I walk on a Lego and then this is this, in a manner that it relates to universal values, then you will connect to it. You see?
Yeah.
So it's about the bridge between you and the other person. This to me is communication. Working in advertising has taught me how important this is.
Mm-hmm.
I think today you will see one of the biggest problems we have is the problem of communication. Whether it is at the personal level, professional level, national level, people don't know the principles, the rules, how to communicate, and there's a lot of frustration, chaos, and anger, and so on.
Everyone has to be on the same page, both internally, on the client side, on the universal side. So yeah, you've worked in advertising for so many years, and now you're a storyteller. So how did you transition from the ad man to the storyteller?
I've never really had the time to plan forward, and I don't think it should be like this. So I've never wanted to work in advertising. I joined advertising because I had no job. For 1 year, I was unemployed. I studied economics. But I love doing physics at school. I did really well in physics. But I'm more methodical in my thinking. So I was thrown into advertising because I had no other option. And so I learned it from here. And my first few days in advertising, I was undecided whether this was what I wanted to be doing. But for me, deep inside of me, like I often say, it was a blind date that turned into true love. I really love that. But I kept telling myself, when I look around me, I see people are always thinking. They're always thinking. So if in a profession where people are always thinking, it cannot be bad. Something good must come out of this. Was my fault. So that's why I pursued in advertising. And then over time, I started my own company that was really successful, but I had no financial partner, whatever. It was about surviving, doing good job. We did some great work for Toyota Mauritius, especially for Air Mauritius on a pitch we won. For a lot of the big names and so on. But after some time there was a recession and the company, I had to close. I was making a lot of deficits, and I made sure so that my staff keep getting paid. I didn't take salary for 6 months. I chose that option. I don't know how many directors would do something like this to sacrifice themselves for the employee. I did that. But eventually when I closed, I found myself without money, with a lot of debts, without job, and without friends also. So I was left on my own. At that time, the only thing I had going for me, I was writing on Facebook, and some people were reading my posts. So I thought I would try to use this. If I have a platform, maybe I can do something. So from this, my posts, I made sure I write regularly. People started reading my posts, and there was one post called Nudité that really buzzed. That day I went home, I saw so many people were liking, sharing my post, commenting. It went national. From this, newspapers started writing about me, give interviews based on my post. And then from this, one day a newspaper, L'Express, gave me a page to write, told me they want me. From this, I got the idea, hey, why don't I write stories? Instead of just jokes or small things, I will write stories. This is where I wrote story, but I'm not a writer. the people saw the story and started telling me, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write
They
a
saw the
book?
potential behind the great.
For me also, even now I'm not a writer. I don't know. Writers go home and think, hey, I have something to write, I'm happy. Me, when I have something to write, it's very stressful. I don't like writing, but I like connecting to people, connecting how I feel. So I can write about a glass of water. I can write, in my book I wrote about a tree. People like that. One of my stories is about winter. I wrote about winter. So you see, so I like the moment. I think it's a very intimate thing, something you felt in you, and you're able to convey it to someone, and he or she connects to it. This is wonderful. I think every artist likes that.
Yeah.
Even one day I was telling my friend, taking a photo has 2 steps. It's about capturing something very elusive. You get it visual. And then the second step, when you show it to someone, someone connect with it. For a writer, also the same, for an artist, the same thing.
It's like bringing that feeling to them.
Yes,
Yeah.
and of course you can do something only for yourself. This is where the art part is. But also the reader, the person who sees the public, is a mirror through which you see yourself. You are not to experience your creation as a neutral. You're never able to do that because it comes from you. So you see the person at times tell you, hey, this is the effect it has on me. And then it enables you to see yourself through their eyes. And I think this is quite spiritual too. I think God created us for this purpose, to see himself through us.
Yeah.
I hope this is not too spiritual.
No, we all should agree on spirituality because it's about peace of mind also. It's about facing different types of situations, depression, loneliness, and also expression. You feel more confident. So over the years, as you communicated with people, I think it has made you a better person, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
For concerning the spiritual part, I think one question I always ask myself is there a God, or is there a purpose to our existence? But if you see, one thing is, from our present, we can create the future. What we do today, if you take a gun and shoot someone, you are influencing your future, you end up in prison.
Yeah.
But there's a future influence the present. But this is a very interesting question. I once asked myself, and I thought, yes. For example, a mango tree.
Okay.
It is going to give mangoes. So from the moment it is a seed, it is already influenced into becoming a mango tree. No matter how hard it tries, it won't become an apple tree. So our future has already influenced our present. For us also. So inside of us there is a purpose. What we will become. So like, no matter how hard I try, I won't be able to play football like Lionel Messi and get millions in salary. I won't. So I have to see within myself connect to things, to have the sensitivity to know what I'm good at, what
makes bring the best out of you.
Yeah, what makes me come alive from the inside. So at times people tell me, hey, what job I want to do and so on. I tell them, you must not choose a job based on your salary. Choose a job based on the energy. That you're paid with energy. That you wake up in the morning, you feel inspired and full of energy to go about it. Because if you choose only the salary, a lot of people do that. They get a good salary, but they are easily demotivated. In a frustrating environment, you are demotivated.
Life becomes robotic.
And you won't progress. Yeah. But if you work based on the energy, this will help you progress. And the day will come when you will make more money than you thought you were able to. You see? So it's about choosing the job that gives you the most energy, not the most salary. Especially in the beginning, it shouldn't be like that.
I think that's a great advice for the young people striving in the moment of COVID-19 also. So yeah, when will I get a job? Will I finish my studies and stuff like that?
This is interesting what you say. One of the things I learned here with James, one day he told me a lot of people start a business to make money. But I think this is not what it should be. People should start a business to contribute value and make money from the values they contribute. This is very subtle, but it makes a lot of sense. And for me, this gave me a lot of faith hearing him say that, yes, we work to contribute value. Tomorrow, if you were to give me an extra big amount of money for doing something where I'm not contributing anything, in the beginning I will like that, but in the long run it will kill me. Like I tell you, I wish I didn't have to work to make money, but it's not true. Working and contributing is our purpose, and it's what makes us come alive and to grow and really find our place in the universe. So, but what happens is often a lot of people start a business. Initially, they want to do something. They want to make burger or write books or whatever, and quickly it becomes how to make the most money out of it. So they shift purpose. They start making compromises, and they lose themselves. No, you shouldn't go through life and keep finding ways to contribute value. You should always be contributing value. This is how I see it. This is our real purpose.
So one analogy you can take is when you go to buy a roti at the market, you always get rougaille, you always get your gros and the sashimi. So if you change one of them in the set of ingredients, it won't be a roti anymore. So that's basically how it should be.
Yes, I think the satisfaction of the merchant, even though he loves going back home making money, he loves it when someone comes and says, hey, I came from this distance to buy your roti. This gives him another type of joy. It's satisfaction inside of it. He feels like he's contributing, you see? So, yes, he wants you to buy and pay him, but he also wants you to appreciate what he's giving. This makes him feel special. This is important. That's why for every artist, we want to be appreciated. It's like when you bake a cake for someone. You can eat the cake yourself, but you want the person to appreciate it. And you want him to tell you, hey, I like what you cook, you bake. You see?
Yeah.
This is an essential part of creation. Because, like I said, it's a mirror through which you see yourself.
Coming up to your writing, so how do you get the ideas? What's your writing process? Do you write daily? Is there any routine for a writer?
Yeah, this is a difficult question because at the beginning I said I don't like writing.
Yeah.
I like expressing myself. First thing, to answer the question, how do we get ideas? When I joined advertising, my biggest worry was what happens if you don't get ideas? I asked my senior, hey, what happens if the deadline is saying you have no idea? Then my senior told me jokingly, then you're in deep trouble. So this has always worried me. I was thinking there are a stock of ideas. One day we'll deplete all ideas and we won't have ideas. But it's not like this. This is the first thing a person needs to understand. Ideas are not limited. And one principle we had when I was working in my first agency, Cread, we used to say, the first ideas are not the best ideas. So you start out to get an idea. It's important not to get attached to it. This is a mistake a lot of people do. The first idea, they feel comfort and they No. A lot of the campaigns we did came after 30, 40, 50 ideas. We would present, the boss won't agree, we discuss, we won't agree, and we keep coming. So what happens? Unknowingly, something changes inside you. It's like the kid who climbs on the cliff and jumps in the water, goes back up and jump and jump. After some time, the fear is gone. It just does it. So for us, for people in advertising, for me especially, it's this. I'm not afraid to jump. Even now, you give me a brief. The question is, what happens if you don't get idea? Doesn't happen. So once this fear is gone, I can focus on something else in understanding you. So if you ask me what is the difference between me now and me when I started, now I can listen to you. And I notice this is a big problem with professionals, whether you are a doctor, lawyer, accountant, designer. I say designer to include you. We don't listen.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem. We are afraid. Most people hardly have 10% attention for you. You talk, they listen to a few lines and then, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
This is a big problem. I used to tell one of my friends who is a lecturer in design, I used to tell him, I don't like the ideas that we give awards to students. We should not be giving awards to students, we should be giving them earplugs. Cotton buds. To clear the ears, you need to tell them, you have to sit there and really listen. Listen with an intent to understand.
Yeah, open mind.
But we are all afraid. When we sit in front of someone, we listen with a sort of switch button that says, I need to
just
get
for the work's sake. Yeah.
If I get an idea, if I find a solution, no, you listen to understand. Finding a solution is second step. You see?
Yeah.
It has to be separate. So this is very important. Learning to listen to understand. So now, how do I get ideas? Because I've talked so much without saying. The answer is, how do you make a plant grow? You don't pull on the plant. You to make a plant grow, you have to cultivate the land. You have to put the seed. You have to nurture it, like you say, and it will grow and it will bear fruits. In the same, our mind is the same thing. How do you get ideas? For me, the answer to the question is, how do you make a plant grow? You make a plant grow not by pulling on it. Mm-hmm. The plant will grow if the soil is fertile, if you are cultivated the soil. So our mind, our brain is like this only. You won't be able to make a plant grow on this table because it's too hard. If our mind is thick, we don't accept anything new, it won't happen. So you have to make your minds fertile. You make it fertile by being open to new ideas, to new concepts and so on. You're reading a lot, you are curious about everything, then you have options in your mind. And the seed is the understanding from analyzing the problem and really listening. This is the seed you put it in and it will spark something. You see?
Yeah.
For me, this is very, very important. This is the only way. I think there are nowadays, thanks to internet, there are a lot of creative things being created. But they are not original things. Most of the creative things are copied from outside other countries. When I started in advertising, we didn't have internet. In the room, we had a small computer and 4 tables. We worked here and sat and thought out ideas by ourselves. Today, if there's no internet, the agency is closed. Nobody works. Because to get ideas, we need to be checking what other people are doing. But for me, this is not real creativity. This is mixing up ideas.
Plagiarism.
Yes, we live in the difference. Earlier, you had 1 week to do a campaign. Today, we have 1 day. So yes, at times you want the easiest option. And also, at times the client doesn't want to pay for this much. So you give him. But for an artist, the joy, the satisfaction that comes from creating something original, this cannot be substituted.
Yeah.
If you have not known it, you are not an artist. For an idea has to come from inside you. Your artist will come from inside you. It's about expressing your feelings. Even if I'm doing an ad for a burger, I need to know, what does this burger make me feel? And then I come up with an idea. It's not about what other people are doing, and then I try to do something. But more than 95% of creation is the second. But a self-respecting artist must not do. But of course, I don't want to be too harsh on people. Most of us, we end up seeing things and they stay in our mind and we end up copying them. Today, it has become almost unavoidable. We keep seeing things in front popping up on our computer. But if you are a self-respecting artist, you need to go for this. Connect to your feelings. Know this pair of shoes, how does it make me feel? This shirt, this burger, this car, this mobile, how does it make me feel? If you connect with this, then it's easier to get ideas. If you ask me about anything, even an event in the country, Nanda, what do you think of it? I won't tell you what the same thing others are saying. I would try to, what does it make me feel? And from this, I try to come up with something. You see?
Yeah.
So this is my idea of creativity and how to get ideas.
So we can, of course, be inspired from like projects that have been done before, but also you have to be original and get the best out yourself. How can you make things differently? What are your strong strengths that you can put into the artwork, any piece of work?
Yes.
So,
I know you are a very talented artist. I've seen some of your work, which I really admire. I have to say this. For a lot of people, their ambition is to be creative. But a creative guy does not set out to be creative. Mm-hmm. He sets out to be as honest as possible to his feelings, to himself.
Yeah.
And he just does it. He doesn't do it to be creative. That's why I don't like the idea of to be creative, everybody needs to wear the same shirt, the same style. No, you have to express who you are inside. You have to connect to who you are inside. This is how I see it. But it is very tense. It's very, like I said, if you choose to be honest, you're choosing a path that is 1,000 times more difficult. You see?
Yeah.
And this is a big issue. So you need to have deep conviction, deep love of yourself, of your talent, and belief in yourself. So that's why I want to say something. There is Steve Jobs who says, it is only possible to connect the dots backward, not forward. What it means is often when you set out doing something, you have no idea where it will lead you.
Yeah.
So, but you need to have faith to keep going. It is difficult to think out of the end part and then because then we try to control everything. We try to go for safety. For me, when I started with my book, today itself is an interesting day. Today, it's exactly 1 year since I created the cover of my book. We launched it.
This is the other page.
I showed it online. I said, will be the cover of my book. And I had no idea that this book will go to UK, USA, Quebec, and so on. People will walk with it with pride. We take photos in snow on the bridge in Sydney under the 2 Eiffel with my book.
That's really, really
but
great.
You see, but this is a part that is about faith. You don't know where it leads. You just keep doing what you are convinced. And it will happen if you have faith. But most people try to control because we have safety and control. We want this, so we want to bring maximum force around us. But every creative venture involves walking alone for some time. You have to be willing to walk alone. Walk through doubts, through adversity. Like I was telling you, when my company closed, I was all by myself. But at that time, I didn't know I will find a way. At that time, earlier, there was a time there was not even Facebook. I was having thoughts and writing on paper. And then Facebook was created and gave me a platform. And since my company closed, it has been so many years. and things, the world has changed. So options will keep. So it is not possible to control the future. We naively think we can. The world will keep changing. So it's about having faith, believing in what you are doing, and willing to go all the way. So you see?
Yeah. Right now you're working on your second book. And how is it going?
You know, my first book was successful beyond my wildest dreams. And it is important to say this because I launched the book. When I started working on the book, I contacted many companies in Mauritius. No one showed any interest. No one. And I also didn't approach any government companies or the government, the ministry for support. I thought I want to write something for Mauritians and I want to do it as honestly as I can with my means. The book was not launched in a hotel. There was no personality invited. I launched it in a food court because and people would ask me, why in a food court? I said, because it's a book that you need to taste. So it was like this. And I must say also, I didn't get support from the media. Nobody said anything about my launch. It was complete anonymity. But the people who came to buy the book were so happy. They started taking photos, posting online, and it created the buzz, and it went so far. So the book has been very successful. And for me, the moment I would see people queuing up to come and buy my book and ask me to write a message for them, and then tell me to take photos with them. This is unbelievable. I never thought that was possible, that people would be happy taking photos with me, seeing me write something. Like I say, we live in a world, in a society that wants to grab everything that is of value to you. But this is something that is very precious to me and shall stay in my heart for as long as I live. It's unbelievable. I'm very happy for that. So from this, now there is a demand for a book too. Nanda, when will you do it? So I've started, but in between, I thought that since the book is in French and with Creole expressions, it has a limited audience. So I want to open it. Maybe foreigners will read about it and learn Mauritius, see our soul. So I set out with the task of translating the book in English. But imagine having to translate Si Rosanana in English or Roscari. But it's very difficult. So this is what I've been doing, and I can say now it is quite okay, the book, the English version. So I will launch this book in English. I will launch this Histoire du Pays numéro 2 hopefully before the year ends. And also during confinement, I started writing my thoughts and sharing on Facebook. I got the idea maybe I can publish this in a book. Mauritians will like it and will relate it to feelings we had during the confinement. So the lockdown. So we are working on this, but because there are a lot of drawings, I want the codes to be illustrated. There are 70 drawings, illustrations. So this takes time, and my poor illustrator, Noah Nani, who works with me, is very tired working on this, and my designer also has a lot. When I say my designer and my illustrators, they don't work for me. We work together. We are friends. And we try over WhatsApp and Facebook to connect. But this success of this Histoire du Pays is thanks to me, of course. But also thanks to Noah, who did fantastic job with the illustration. And thanks to Ziad, who was there, was the first person who believed it was possible. He did the logo, which I absolutely like, and he has been mounting up, discussing whenever I think of an idea. He's the first one I will tell, and I can already give. Today is 1 year since I launched the cover of the first book, the book 1. Yesterday, we had the idea for the cover of the English version, and it's a very nice concept. So I was telling him, so now la boucle est complète. So we completed the cycle from where it started. Now it has completed. So it's great. So I work with them and very hard. So yes, these are my forthcoming projects. This is Trying to Pay Book 2. Days of Simpler Times, the English version of This is Trying to Pay. And Confiserie, a book about the lockdown, the confinement.
Nice. And we congratulate you on the success for book 1, This is Trying to Pay, and we are celebrating the first year anniversary of this piece. So best of luck for the second book and all the other projects you're working on. And what I feel about you, Nanda, is what you created via your work is create that connection with the client, with the book reader directly, rather than going through different paths. So I think that's what people are loving, that connection, that raw, that authenticity that you're bringing out to them, and also going out there, signing, like interacting. So that's what people are loving, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, in terms of sale, it has been very successful because my first print was completely sold out. I had to print again and sell again. And also it has been everywhere around the world. So this is not my biggest satisfaction as such. You know, when I wrote the book, I kept saying, I'm writing for the people. When you hold the book in your hand, I sell it for 700 rupees, but with the hardcover, the illustration and everything, I could have sold it for 1,000, 1,200 rupees. It would have sold. Mm-hmm. But it occurred to me that I'm writing a book about Mauritius. I want everybody to be able to afford it and to be able to read it because it's simple language. My biggest satisfaction is really the common people love it. Mm-hmm. The book lives in their heart. I never asked anybody to go in front of Natu Eiffel with my book. They did it themselves, to put it under their Christmas tree, to walk around with so much pride. Even in the protest walk in France this weekend, one lady took the book and said, "This everybody needs this." You know, in Mauritius there are brands that have been built with billions of rupees over the years, but nobody took these brands. They took my book, and I'm not a company. I'm just an individual. This lady did me enormous job, brought me enormous joy. But my biggest satisfaction, like one of the women who sells cakes outside of ShopRite came to buy my book and told me, "Nanda, I want to buy your book so my son and myself can read." This touches me a lot. A lot of people who never used to read make it an effort to write. And then I have this. One guy came to see me and he asked me to write a message for his mother on the book. I told him, "What is your mother's name?" He told me, "You know, my mother passed away last week." So this was very sad. I was very saddened here. I told him, "I'm very sorry to hear this," and so on. Then I said, "But on whose name I write then?" He said, "No, write it for my mother. Everything that is in it relates to my mother. So I want it to be a souvenir of her for your book." This much value it has. This is worth that any award, any recognition. You see, you have been able to create something that is value. I think, and as artists, it is important for someone to, when I say we need to create value, this is what I mean. Don't create value for yourself. Mm-hmm. Your success is not the car you drive or whatever, the people you meet and the awards you get. Your success is what you bring to the people, you see? Mm-hmm. So I was able to, and one lady made me cry of all the people I met because she told me, "Nanda, I took the bus. I came here, it took me 1.5 hours just to buy your book, and I'll go again for 1.5 hours in the bus." So I told her, "But why? Why?" Then she told me, "I've never known anyone who talks to people the way you talk to people." For me, it got me emotional. Even now I feel emotional because my tears fell because the book too. Because
that's so sweet.
Yeah, because people see beyond what you write, you draw, you take photo. They want to connect to the person, and you have to be a good person.
Yeah.
You see. So when you take, you tell me, yes, I connect to people. Yes, this is what I love about the job.
That's really, really great. And yeah, there's very, very few people like you, Nanda. Like, it's very humble from you. It's very selfless to be caring about the emotions of your audience, and yeah, always giving, always sharing ideas, always present on social media. So that's what Canvas Story is also is about, is getting the raw talent out here. So guys, if you want to join us, feel free to contact us on Canvas Stories at XTMHQ. So today we shared a great conversation with Nanda Pavaday.
Thank you, Shubham.
Thank you for coming.
I believe in what XCM is doing, and I believe in you. Like I say, I hate praising people. Maybe I have a big ego. I don't like praising people, but in your case, yes, you are doing a good job yourself and to the company too. I'm very happy to be here.
It's a team effort, and yes, everyone is working hard right now. So thank you, Nanda, and this was Canvas Stories Podcast 1. And yeah, stay safe, take care.
Thank you, everyone.